Hey, Phil, it's looking like we need one more board member to get started here.
Okay, the only one I see are you and me.
Rachel and Nancy Jean are also on as well. And is that what you like to be referred to as, or is it Nan?
You said
It's Nancy
Jean.
Jean. Only my hubby calls me Nan.
Okay, okay, got it.
Thanks.
Well, welcome to your first meeting.
Thanks,
We're very
Becca.
happy to have. There we got David. Phil, you can go ahead and start the meeting now.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Philip Dixon, Chairman of the Board of Architectural Review, and we welcome you to our Board of Architectural Review board meeting. It's now 6 p.m. on the 1st of June, the time scheduled for our meeting to begin. And before we get started, I want to introduce our newest board member, Nancy Jean Nettles. So glad to have you with us, Nancy. Jean.
Thanks very much, Phil.
Depending on the size or complexity of a project, each applicant has the opportunity to present a conceptual or master plan for our review prior to committing funds for a full set of design plans and specifications. Approval of a concept means that we might agree with the concept while disagreeing with some of the details. It also means that each phase of the project must be submitted at a later date once the plans are more fully developed to obtain the board's final approval for that individual portion of the project. Hopefully any disagreements will have been worked out before the applicant comes back before the board. Several of the projects being reviewed this evening have been submitted before and are now ready to be considered for further approval. For those of you who may be new to our meeting, our charge is to look at each project purely on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale, and in harmony with the historic district in the town of Somerville. We look at the overall street scene. Although we're not required to solicit comments from anyone other than the applicant, the board members, except for demolition requests, we usually choose to allow others to express comments that might help influence our decision after the applicant has presented the project and the board members have resolved any questions that they might have. As always, we will review each submittal in the order that it was submitted. However, as a first order of business, we must approve the minutes of our last meeting, which were sent to board members for review prior to this meeting. Are there any changes that are needed to be made, or do I have a motion that they be accepted?
So move.
And a second?
I'll second. Tim Kennedy.
Thank you, Tim. Please respond with a yes or a no when I call your name. And I'm not sure who else here. I don't have pictures of everybody, but Jeff? Rachel?
Yes.
Cecile? Nancy Jean?
I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't vote.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And mine is yes. Our first project on our list tonight is 209 East 4th South Street. The request to build a front porch, add a false dormer, and paint a masonry residence. Is the owner or the representative here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please tell us about it.
So as you saw from the one picture that you just had up, we did purchase a house about 4 years ago on the address that you had mentioned. And as you can see, it's a 1951 all brick one-story home. Not a whole lot of detail going on in the front of this house. So what we intend to do, what we hope to do, is to add a covered porch off of the front to encompass the front door and the window to the left. Install the false dormer that you see centered above the kitchen window on the roof, with the idea that The home has a hip roof. Everything is very low on the style of the home. The hip roof just kind of comes down and everything brings the eye down. So in order to give the house a little bit more appeal from the street, we wanted to add the porch and also to give us the front porch to enjoy. So what we plan to do is add the porch, as you can see in the drawing. We're going to put a double reverse gable to cover the porch and tie that into the existing roof. That is a picture of a porch that I put on my daughter's house in Charlotte, and that's the idea that we're going to be going for. That's how we plan to address the details on the roof on our house. The roof pitch will be a little higher, as you can see from the drawing. This is what I had to do there. But that's how I intend to do the columns. And kind of give that double gable look to just kind of help out the look of the home. And also the idea behind the dormer over the kitchen window to the right is, again, just to bring more detail up and to break up that massive roof that we see from the street.
Are there any questions?
Can we see the plan view?
So there's an offset on that front wall of the house that contains the front door and part of the dining room on the inside. So I want to use that. It's a 2-foot offset, and I want to use that offset to kind of flank out where the front porch is going to go. So we're going to go the width of that area, and then I want to extend it in front of the door about 2 feet, which will break up the roof line and give the reverse gable. If I kept it out the 8 feet and went straight across, you'd only have one gable facing the street. But with that offset kind of framing out the front door, that'll give the opportunity to put that double reverse gable on there, just to give it a little bit more visual interest, as you saw from the picture on my daughter's house.
Well, this is Rachel, and I'll start. I just have a couple of questions for you, and a comment, and I'm not 100% sure what my fellow board members would like, but when I compare the plan and look at your elevations and then look at the drawing or the photo that you showed us of your daughter's porch, there's a lot of things that are different between each of those. So for example, on the floor plan, you show 2 columns at the very front of that double porch, and then offset and set over to the left is another column on that main porch, and yet that's not shown on the elevations. So I'm not sure how many columns there'll actually be and in what plane they'll be in. And then I'm also not sure how far in front that the part where the stairs are go. And I think when you came before, we all, or my recollection was that we really supported your goal to dress up the front of your home and to add these details. I think we all thought it would be a great asset to our town and to your home in particular, but asked that you provide us with more detailed information so that we would know exactly what you wanted to do. And I'm not sure that I still know exactly what you want to do.
So when we discussed the detail that you wanted to see, more explained, I looked at it, and I think the part of the issue was you wanted to see a detail of how I was going to do the columns. We looked at the skirting that I was going to use underneath the porch, from the porch to the floor. So I kind of drew that in, and I included a photo of that photo right there. That's how I intend to do the skirting underneath the porch. And then the column detail is kind of demonstrated in this picture here. That's how I intend to do the columns on my house. And I agree that this picture here, this isn't the same scale that my house is, but it's going to be the same type of detail with the double gable across the front. And you can see how that area in front of the front door offsets 2 feet, which gives us the detail increasing the size there to give the double gable.
But I don't, Is that really only a 2-foot projection forward? It looks more than that on your daughter's home.
On my daughter's house, the main porch comes out 6 feet, and then that portion in front of the front door comes out 8 feet. So it's a 2-foot offset, and that's what I want to do on mine.
Okay. Can you show me how many columns? So you're showing you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and yet your elevations look like you're showing 3 columns.
It'll actually be 4. I don't think I need the column in front of the window. So when you counted the 5 columns, if you started from the right, we're going to have the column at the corner, and then my floor plan shows another column in front of the window, but I don't think, I mean, I know it's not required structurally, and I don't want to put a column in front of that window. So this is going to be accurate. So there'll be 2 in a line at the 8-foot depth. And then when we move forward in front of the front door, there's going to be another column to the right of the door and a column to the left of the door. So there'll be a total of 4.
Okay, but when I look at your elevation and I see the 3, on the plan, it looks like you have an offset on the rear, like on the part that's not pulled forward, so that I would see another column, like if I'm going from the left to the right, the 3rd column is not in the same plane vertically as your others. So I'm not 100% sure what you're wanting to do there either.
It will be on the same plane as the elevation. So in the elevation, you wouldn't be able to see it from the street, but it'll be behind that.
Okay.
Counting
So
from
can you go back to the plan again? So do we have elevations of the width of that and the dimension forward and all of that?
I thought I had that on this drawing, unless there's another drawing that I had for the porch itself. No, apparently I didn't have a detailed drawing on the depth of it, but I intend to come out 6 feet, 8 feet on the main porch and an additional 2 feet over the front door, split into thirds.
What are the details on the false dormer?
There's I built a detached garage that I got approval for a couple of years ago, and I included a picture of that, and I intend to do the same dormer there on the front of the house. It'll have a shed roof. It'll be 8 feet wide, and with windows that are going to be as large as I can get in that front elevation. Once I build that dormer on there, and I need to keep pitch on the roof itself, and also give enough front wall as I build the dormer. So I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get a 2-foot tall by about 6-foot wide window. And that will be sided with cement siding.
What's the situation regarding the setback? That's still awaiting approval?
I haven't applied for that yet because I was told I couldn't apply for that until I got your approval. So I didn't address that yet. So once I have this approval, I'll apply for the variance. When I purchased the house, someone at the township, and this was going back a few years, I don't remember who it was, but we talked about the setback and how far it is from the house. And if I ever did want to put a porch on, and this was volunteered to me by the official that I spoke to, they said if I asked for a variance to the zoning, that I would most likely get it, since the setback is so far from the street and really unnecessary for it to be back that far.
Can I ask, Mike, who you spoke to that told you that you couldn't apply for the BZA variance? You remember or not?
I don't recall. I thought it was during the meeting last week.
You can apply for it. That's why I put the dates, in there. But you don't have to have one board approval before getting another approval. Typically, depending on the situation, there are a few rare cases where you can't do one before the other, but with this, you definitely can. But I also understand it is $100 fee and not knowing if you have one board approval. But you most definitely can go ahead and apply for it.
Okay,
We-
yeah, it wouldn't be the $100. I would apply for that. I misunderstood.
Can we go back to the proposed front elevation, please? That looks entirely different elevation from the house
Photo?
as it exists.
I would agree with you, David. Like the house as it exists looks really low and like
And
the
long.
six and long, and this looks shorter, like compressed.
Yeah. Which may play a role in how that false dormer would look on the longer elevation.
I mean, when I look at the photo that you just had up, it felt to me like the proportion of that bay projecting forward that has the door and the window is actually a really nice size to make that be the whole porch. And the little projection forward, I think will look a little too little and choppy. Like it could be the one case where just adding another layer of detailing and texture may actually be to the detriment of the overall appearance of the building.
I don't see what's gained visually by the false dormer. I personally think it would look odd rather than add to the appearance, which is, yeah, that's a mid-century brick rambler and a pretty good example of such.
Just looking at the mass of the roof and all the shingles, I thought it would be a good way to break up that large amount of shingles that you see from the street.
Yeah. I think when you add the dormer over your kitchen window, that and a single porch may give you that sort of like little scale, big scale piece. But looking at the whole elevation and really seeing the proportions of that, I'm like David thinking, I think your little like, like the step in the front porch, like you could create that look without actually stepping it forward. But I'm just thinking like the proportions, I think it would look too little. I think you would feel like you were squeezing through this little spot and it would be, I think it would look a little mean, whereas this feels really quite graceful.
I think there are, I did see a floor plan as you kind of scrolled through there before, and it did show that I do have a drawing that shows yeah, I think it's that one there, or there was another one maybe.
Like that
So the
doesn't,
porch- yeah, the porch itself is going to be 18 feet wide. Right, with 6 feet wide for the offset for the front door, and then 12 feet for the porch. So the porch at 18 feet, I'd assume was a pretty sizable.
so hang on. I'm confused here. Oh, you've got a carport that makes it look like that's the end of the building, but it's actually enclosed.
Right, yeah, someone finished that carport. Yeah, where those windows that you see to the right, that used to be a carport and was converted before I bought the house.
But the roof extends all the way over that.
It's
Right.
one, that's right.
And you've
So
got
the ele-
a hip roof on the house and you've got a hip roof on the bump out. And I'm not sure how changing to a gable there would improve things. I kind of like the way it's done now.
I could potentially see a gable, but I think the double gable is a little too choppy. But it's very, very difficult to tell on the drawings because they really don't feel like they're the same scale as what we're seeing in the photo. And it doesn't have the accuracy like the photo of his daughter's home had fairly large and defined mutton chops. which is a very distinct look, which is not necessarily the look drawn here. And I think that the mutton chops in the photos might be a little like too large and too
Can you define what you mean by mutton chops? I'm not familiar with that term.
it's like what you have, like, do you see how your the roof comes down and then it goes vertical? So if you're looking at it, you have kind of
Oh, the
that,
return.
right, that return detail is like there's no trim underneath, and this is like a very like pronounced shape. And if that was only 6 feet wide with this amount of a mutton chop kind of detail on it, it would look like a lot plunkier than this, which is double that width. And the overall porch of that is like double that. So it's just like a really different proportion than what we're looking at. And having, if that's the kind of detail that's intended on how the roof gets finished, but that's not what drawn, like, it's very difficult for me to imagine what the scale will look like and how will it really, like, will it be okay? Because like, I think if we drew that over this front door, it would almost like not quite meet, but it would be feeling like there wasn't much space left in between. And to be honest, I'm not sure that's the right way to end this particular look on a house where the rest of it is a hip roof.
This front elevation does not have the carport addition on it and has the roof, stopping far short of where it stops on the real elevation.
The drawing goes all the way to the right. You can see where I have the windows drawn in, and that brings it out to the end of where the house is. And when I did this drawing, I did use the scale. The drawing that you see on the floor plan was done with software that I have, and I did that drawing when I did some other renovations to the inside of the house, and I used the same dimensions for the house itself.
But I guess what looks so different is that there's a whole different window pattern on the right side. And are these all the right size windows at the right height? Like, is all of that accurate? Because it doesn't look like the windows on the right are accurate. And it doesn't look like the windows on the left are accurate.
I guess in reality, the window on the left is a larger window, but I do have it drawn in as a plate glass window. The window to the right of the front door should be accurate. The one over the kitchen sink, that's why that window is shorter, because that comes over the kitchen sink. And I do show three twin windows to the right, which in reality is just a twin window. That's the windows that are here now. The window to the right is
So that photo that we're looking at is not what's actually there?
it's an older picture.
Oh. Okay.
But I do agree that the window that I have drawn in on the left side of the front door, what I have drawn is smaller than what's there in reality, but I was focusing on what I was doing with the porch.
Yeah. I'm just being really, really honest. I just find it very difficult to truly understand the scale of what you're doing, because the drawing is not completely accurate or drawn to scale and doesn't have all of the detail, the trim, and the widths. And just even simple things like you're drawing a 2x8 as the front of the porch floor, but would you see like another layer that would be the actual porch floor itself? So I'm just finding it really hard to understand exactly what this porch would look like. But my gut feeling is that I think the double gable is not a good fit for this house. But beyond that, I don't know that I can really comment accurately. Tim, what do you think?
Rachel, I'd have to say I agree after looking at all the discrepancies between the elevation. I can't really tell what's going on either. I'm still confused over the carport. When I zoom in on the picture on my laptop, it kind of looks like maybe there's an offset in the eave, but it could just be the quality of the picture. So I just have a hard time telling exactly what's going on.
Right.
And I hate to say, but we're pushing to have accurate drawings, and it's just hard to really tell. I'm not opposed to the concept of what you're trying to do. It's just hard to tell, the details. And I think the details are important.
Okay.
So I guess my recommendation would just be to get a drafts person or an architect or somebody to actually accurately sketch this to scale and give us a section through that front porch so we can really understand what you're doing. Again, I'm not opposed to your concept. I just can't really tell the details yet.
And it doesn't have to be an architect. It can be a draftsman.
Yes, right. It's just got to be drawn properly though, to scale.
Can I ask something? Is the photograph of the house, of the elevation, you said that is not a current photo?
No, that was what the house was when I purchased it.
Okay, I think it would help us to have a current photo of it and compare that to the drawings in order to kind of translate, at least for me anyway. I'm new, so maybe it's just my being a novice, but I would want to see a current picture of the house, of what it looks like now.
Okay. Nancy Jean, you're correct. It should be
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Mike, you wanna come back to us with those thoughts?
Sure. I'll put together a notice of submittal.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to take it when we take a look at it. So we'll
Okay, guys, I
leave it at
appreciate your
that.
time.
The idea is, I think generally the idea was okay, but you're just needing some details on it.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next submittal is 142 Salisbury Drive. A request to build an addition to an existing garage. It's a change in design from previous approved submittal. The owner or representative.
We're here. Hey, it's
Okay.
Frankie and Jimmy Zeski.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us about it, please.
Well, actually, this is our third trip, and I apologize for the last time you had us here. We were actually submitting the exact same thing as the month before, and we didn't realize that. So I apologize for wasting your time there. But we did go ahead and took your advice on, I think last time we brought the plans in, we were worried about the way the roof line from the existing structure was connecting to the addition. It was leaving kind of a funky gap there between the existing eyebrow and the addition. And we actually, my dad's a contractor, and he came out and looked at it with us and recommended bringing the existing eyebrow forward so that it would meet up seamlessly with the addition roof. To do that, we would have to also, and I tried to depict this in the picture, but you'd also have to raise that eyebrow about a foot. But what that would do is we could still have the addition the way we proposed it before, but we wouldn't have that resulting roof line that just didn't look real good. So we're hoping to keep that 25 feet we needed with the addition, because that's, where we wanted to be able to put our boat, and we really do need that space. and also not have to add on to the back of the garage because we have area back there that we want to gravel and use for storage, something that you can't be seen from the street. So can you tell by the drawings the changes we made?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
I think you were right. It definitely looks a lot better this way.
I would concur. It looks tidier, which is the point. There isn't that odd, funny thing.
Right. My dad came out and he was like, "Oh yeah, that is real weird." And we would have him working on it, but he doesn't live in this area. But he came into town just to try to help us, brainstorm what we could do and still be able to keep the depth we needed with that on that that right bay. But yeah, I think it looks a lot better.
We wanted to keep that bump out in the front as well, just to kind of break up so it doesn't look as long and
Flat.
Flat is in the front. So if we can have that bump out, it gives it a little bit of character, and then it's a seamless roof line now if we bring that eyebrow up and out. Plus it'll give a little bit of an overhang on that middle garage door, that the existing structure where we're going to move that garage door to the middle.
So what you're seeing there that says revision plan B, that was just another brainstorm in case you didn't like the plan A. It really is not ideal though, honestly, so this is
Plan A is the one that we're going after.
Right.
The plan that we'd like to get the approval on.
So you see here on the right where it just shows that overhang would come all the way up on the eyebrow to meet the addition.
This is Tim. I think I'm okay with the revision. I appreciate y'all continuing to work on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just quickly, I did get an email about this this morning. Mr. Randy Sharpia just voiced his objection to the proposed addition. He had no issue with it being a garage, but did not approve an expansion. Support, not approve them.
What was his objection?
Say that again.
What was his objection?
He just said that I'm pulling up the email right now. The BAR is scheduled to hear a request from the owner of 142 Salisbury Drive to build a detached garage on the property, which I informed him was not correct, and that it was an expansion. But in later back and forth, he said that he did not support an expansion of the existing garage.
But it does meet zoning, doesn't it?
Yep.
It does. He didn't give me a reason
Okay.
other than he objected.
Okay.
Well, it is adorable the way it is. People ask us all the time if it's a little cottage instead of a garage. So I get that he loves the way it looks now, but we really need that extra space.
Well, it should also be noted that I didn't receive this comment the first two times y'all went before the board. So.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well, I'm happy to move that we accept the current plan.
I
the
second it. Yeah, see?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you for
please.
being with us.
Please respond yes or no. Jeff's not with us, I don't believe. Rachel,
Yes.
Cecile, Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and I agree, yes. So we thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Get it built now.
We sure will.
Our next project is 114 West Richland Street. It's a request to build a detached garage. It's a detailed presentation. the owner here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please tell us.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to resubmit. My drawings weren't quite as accurate as they should have been. The doors looked a little smaller than what they were supposed to be. And the windows, those were the two issues. So I've tightened up the drawings and showed them more to scale of what I intend to do. And hopefully this satisfies y'all what you wanted to see.
Any questions or comments?
I think everything else was good to go. It's just the scale of the doors and the windows.
Yeah. Could you show us the end view again? Okay.
That's not facing the street. That's facing
Yeah. And that's the street.
that'll be the street.
Yeah.
So I made those windows longer, taller.
Right. I remember that in our last
And-
meeting.
Hey, Ozzy, what size are the windows now? They're 5 by
Yeah, 5 by 2'8".
5 by 2.8.
Yeah,
And you also made the head height the same as the garage doors.
I did, and I've got that garage door as high as I could get it. Looking at the trim, there's a detail on A7 I've submitted. It's a profile cut of the wall section, and with the trim, you've got a 2x10 coming down freeze board and a 2x6 head with a 5/4 board on top of that. It doesn't give it a lot of room, so that's about as high as I could get with that door.
It looks good to me.
Getting into that freeze board.
Any
Tell
questions?
me how high your garage door is. Oh, an 8-foot door. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's adequate. Well, first of all, thank you very much for revising your drawings so that we could see what you were wanting to do and look at the proportions and understand the scale, the relative scale between the parts. It makes such a big difference.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I apologize for not having it accurate the first time. I should have paid more attention to it. I was kind of rushing to get it in. So
I can relate.
unfortunately, I didn't get it in quite as accurate as I should have.
It looks better. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a
I'll so
motion
move.
that we approve it.
Second.
I'll second then.
Okay. Please answer for me, Rachel.
I approve.
Nancy Jean,
I approve.
Tim,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and mine is approved also. And I left off Jeff and Cecile because I don't think they're with us.
Okay.
All right. Thank you much.
Well, thank y'all. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
luck, Ozzy.
Okay. Yep. Thank y'all. Have a good night.
Take care. Our next project is in new business. It's 133 South Main Street. Installing brickwork to create occupiable space in front of the theater building. Somebody here for that one?
Yes, this is Monica Schaus with the Flowertown Players.
Hey, tell us about it.
So in the since the last couple of years, we were able to renovate the walkway with this Walk of Fame with engraved pavers, and we've also done the entranceway into the theater with engraved tiles. We had a lot of leftover brick, and we would like to be able to utilize the space that is either side of the ramp and put in some benches, some planters, some decorative areas on either side that are kind of table height on the right side facing the theater and more of cocktail height on the left side. It's basically is a 6-degree slope in the elevation from facing right to left, just because it gives it a lot more of an interesting look and feel. Back in probably the mid 2000s, I would say, or early 2000s, we at that time did put brick planters on all 4 locations, same height, same dimensions. And that would be where the 2 planters are right now that are showing with the greenery and the 2 very outside edges. and we had benches in there, but it made them very closed off from one another. So you didn't get that feel and flow that I'm hoping this design will allow the community. Because when you walk down the street from Town Hall and walk this direction, it'll bring you more into the theater itself. And if you're got groups of people during intermission outside, they can feel more inclusive and not so segregated. So basically, we want to finish using up bricks we already have. And then by having this established, the goal is we still have tiles to sell. And the area that is currently, when you look at the plan view that's vacant, that's where we want to put the additional tiles on whatever we're able to sell this year. We have got to close out this project. I started with the group in 2016 and it's now 2021. So I'm ready for this to be completed. Does anybody have some questions of me? I know I rattled.
So Monica, this is Tim. Help me just a little bit, because I know I should know this better, but all the paver sidewalk work is done. Is that correct?
Correct. We are not, yeah.
So what we're talking about are the two little spaces underneath where you guys put the posters for what's coming up, the next plays.
Correct.
Okay.
Currently, what we did was we just tried to smooth out the area there because it was old brick from originally, and it was very jagged. So we smoothed it out with cement so that it was not a tripping hazard. So at this point, we'd put a small platform to level it out. We'll probably have to bust up that concrete and then put a leveled platform for the benches. And then, like I said, just sort of make these little decorative areas on either side and sort of encapsulate the lower part of the I-beam or the beam supports for the current marquee.
Are the outline, the soldier course towards the street in that top view, is that going to be at grade level or is that going to be elevated?
It's going to be, we've talked about it both ways. No matter what we do, we've got the ramp that is already from grade up. So we were looking at going ahead and doing a partial course of soldiers of the brick. And then behind that, smoothing it out with the cement. And then the tiles would sit on top of that. So you would have it's probably 3/8 of an inch tile that would sit on top of the cement. And then you would have the brick.
But if that soldier course is not going to be at grade level? I think one soldier course up would be a great tripping hazard. I would think you'd need to either go up 3 courses and make it real obvious that there's something there, or have it at grade level.
Okay. We can make it grade level. That wouldn't be a problem.
That's just my thoughts. I don't know what other people think.
I think one brick course up is a tripping hazard. And I think you have to have it all at grade level, or you're going to have, I mean, this is, you're going to have people getting hurt.
Well, I will say that no one got hurt when we had it one brick up in the last time it was done. But I appreciate the comment, and making it grade level would not be a problem.
I also think you could put just, I mean, I know that if you had anybody who has limitations with mobility, that you're not like a fully accessible building, but outside the building, I think, you're not just, it's not just your patrons, but it's sort of the public at large. So it'd be nice to be welcoming to everybody.
Okay.
And now those brick planters and enclosures of the enclosures of the post is back against the building, but the elevated planters, are they in the public right of way, or is that on the property of the theater?
This is all on the property of the theater.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
This is Tim. I'll make a motion that we accept the submittal.
Accept what?
We accept the proposal that's submitted.
With that soldier course being at grade level?
Sure. Yes, with the new pavement being at grade level.
Yeah.
David, I agree.
A second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second for grade level.
All right. Please respond yes or no for me. Rachel?
Yes.
Nancy Jean?
Yes, as long as it is grade level.
And Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes, and we're approving just concept at this point, correct?
Well, Monica? Is this concept?
It was presented as concept.
I presented whatever I need to do to get before you, because I know that's the first step of any project. I mean, I don't know what else you would like me to provide you.
So when you apply, Monica, it asks you conceptual final or preliminary conceptual final. On the application, it was checked conceptual. So I think
Okay.
that's the confusion.
Well, okay, then I can come back another time and you can do it. It'll be the same project. It'll be the same package. Because I don't know what else I can provide you.
Well, I just wanted to clarify that this was presented as conceptual, and I
Okay, I appreciate that.
agree.
Okay. Do we have the ability to change it to final?
Yeah, yeah,
I-
it's fine. I mean, you guys can make a motion to give it final approval, even though it was presented as conceptual, if you feel
Okay.
it's appropriate.
Can I modify my motion to say final approval then?
All right. David, you second that one?
I'll second, but I'm going to include my comment about on the images that she's got shown, it is a course of brick underneath. I just want to make sure that the final is on grade level.
Yeah, that would be written into the approval.
Okay.
Okay. Then let's take a vote again. Rachel?
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
So, I mean, when it was conceptual, I wasn't fussing a lot, but if we go to the elevations, what I'm not completely sure about is, does the brick just come up and it ends at the top of these little tower pieces, or is there like a cap there? Because on this very ends, it looks like there's a cap.
On the two ends, there would be, yes.
So what is the top finish then exactly on the other ones?
I was looking at doing a cement countertop.
No, she's talking about the planters, I think.
Yeah,
The planter will have dirt.
but I mean, the top of the brick has holes in it. Does
We
it?
can put the tile on it as well. We have blank tiles as well.
I would think that it should be a solid brick.
Yeah. I think we need to just clarify some of those pieces like that, like as a total concept, it's really nice. I like it a lot and I'm glad you're doing it. But I think as we get into the final, I think we need to just make sure that those pieces are all, like, we're really clear about what we're doing with the details.
You know, like, what's the cap? What are the caps going to be made out of?
Yeah.
How much
And-
overhang they're going to have?
Yeah, exactly. And if any, like, I just, I would like someone to just think about that and then tell me what you'd like to do.
Well, and what is the brick? Is it the same brick as the pavers?
The brick is the same color as what's in the front walkway, not the light colored one. It's the regimental red. And then the tile is the same color as the ones entering the theater.
I'm not sure I'm real excited about the planters and end pieces being made out of that color brick.
That regimental red.
I think that's awful bold.
It's the same colors that's in the sidewalk.
Yeah, well, it's sidewalk's the sidewalk, and an elevated surface is an elevated surface.
Well, then I'll have to come up with another I don't want to buy a bunch of new brick
Well, I know that.
because we've got like over 600 bricks.
There are some things that you could do. I mean, like, you could think about, okay, I've got regimental red brick, but maybe I'm going to use not gray mortar. I'm going to use white. So I'm going to, like, change kind of the look of it by popping out the mortar. Or maybe you could color it the same color as the brick on the existing elevation. Like, there's some choices that you could have here that might change what you want to do. I'm not sure what the right answer is because I haven't looked at it or thought about it, but I don't know. Like, I think you have to think about when you see it from the street, you're going to see it, you know, in the vertical face, not the horizontal face. And maybe just think through what you think would be the best and how you'd like it to fit in with your building and the streetscape.
It might not look bad to have the brick just painted the same tan color as the
Right.
front of the building.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing, David.
That could be a really good solution, that it's painted to match the
You're
building.
using your brick, and
Yeah,
So it doesn't look so choppy.
yep,
yeah.
I think that bright red would stand out horribly.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you, David.
I also think, you know, if you paint it the color of that's the painted of the brick, then maybe you think about what's the cap. I'm not sure that you should paint the cap. It's gonna have a little more wear and tear to it. So you could maybe have that be an accent, like you've got other accent colors there.
Or do the
Okay.
cap in black like the trim on the building.
Yeah, but then it would have to be painted, and I'm not sure that painted
You
as
could
the
get-
cap.
You can get a formed concrete cap, or you could get a bluestone cap,
Mm,
or some kind of stone cap, but you can get cast concrete caps that aren't horribly expensive.
right.
And you can even coloration them a little bit.
I'm taking good notes. You guys are giving good suggestions.
But I think we can approve the concept, but look for the final details.
I would feel
think-
comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think the concept idea is probably the best thing for right now. So,
All right, well, I'll withdraw my motion to add the final approval. Let's just go for conceptual approval.
all right. And the second,
I'll second.
Okay. Please answer yes or no for me. Rachel,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Tim,
Oh, wait a minute. Let's talk. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
David,
Yes.
and mine is yes also. That, Monica, that'll give you a chance to, with everything that everybody said, give you some ideas to look at the finish on it and come back to us with that, and we'll hopefully give it final approval on it fairly
Okay.
quickly. Thank you.
Oh, thank
Thanks,
you very
Monica.
much. All right, y'all have a good evening.
Right.
Our
Bye-bye.
next one is 927 South Main Street. Is someone here?
Yep, I'm here, Susan Camrad Campbell.
Thank you, Susan. Please tell us about it.
I'm very happy to be here, and it was a pleasure to sit through all that you've gone through tonight, just to see how you think and how you work. And I really appreciate the nature of the work that you do, and want to put a plug in for Sue Sanders, whose campaign I was happily a part of. And I know that this is her legacy. You all are her legacy. So the project, I don't know how familiar you are with the property. It was the construction of Cliff and Ruth Jones, and they own Fleck Jones Lumber Company. So this was architect designed, and what you're seeing here is really not the house. This is what I want to take away from the house. The property was built in 1938, and it was architecture designed Halsey and Cummings from Charleston. And the spirit of the house is very much, it's kind of a traditional plantation style home with a cottage feel to it. So I am the third owner. My husband, who is now deceased, and I bought it in 1997. The second owner is who added the features that I'm trying to, I guess, recondition by demolishing portions of them. So what you're looking at is the site plan that was done in 1993. So the area, just to orient you, this is Main Street. There's a governor's driveway parking area, very formal, symmetrical. The front of the house has a terrace that's made of flagstone. That feature was repeated on the back of the house. So the back elevation was completely changed and altered when the spa room was added. You can see on, I'm sure that this was not put before the Board of Architectural Review at the time that it was built. It doesn't mimic anything of the elegance of the structure. The barrack style windows they have no buttons. They were improperly installed, which caused rot to take place. The original siding was made of some sort of material. I don't remember the name of it, but it was only on the market for a couple of years before it was pulled off the market, because it was known to draw in some sort of fiberboard. It would draw in moisture, it would expand, and then it would just crumble. So over time, we replaced all of that siding with a hardy plank. It looks pretty rough because there's no, I don't want to refurbish it. I'm not repainting it. I just add the entire estate, and that consists of 3 large structures re-roofed. And that was really sort of the moment of reckoning when I was making a decision what to do with this I guess you would call it a lean-to spa. The roof, it doesn't leak particularly, but it is the original roof from 93, so it was due to be re-roofed. If you go to the picture that shows the interior, you can see that the acoustic ceiling tiles, this started happening about 9 to 12 months ago, where the coloration started to change. So it's not due to a leak. At any rate, it's the acoustic ceiling tile has a life, and apparently we have reached it. So again, these are all features of a building. To refurbish it and make it right would mean putting in all new roof and ceiling, redoing the windows. Architecturally, it's ugly. And the thing that is most disturbing about it is it creates a barrier that's the depth of it is 20 feet. And that coverage completely covers over the natural back elevation. There are, I think I sent some images that showed those windows, but these are all custom windows from the original structure. And there's a bank of them, and they're beautiful, but you can't see them. There they are. They're covered. The surface area is some sort of stucco that the original or the second owner son was an inventor, and so he was experimenting with his materials. So I don't actually know what it is, but it was put on right over the clapboard. You can see that it's built out, and that the window trim is almost the same surface, same plane as the stucco material. So I know that the original boards are behind it. I don't know what their condition will be, but I'd like to find out. And as you can see, what would be a bright and sun-filled room with those windows is now a dark, dreary interior space that does not meet the original concept of this home. My proposal is to rip down the pool structure. So that would entail removing the roof, the side walls, taking off whatever that material is, restoring the windows, reglazing them, obviously repainting, repairing whatever needs to be done, restoring the original roof line, and then creating as I said, the terrace, the porch on the front was mimicked by the terrace in the back, and it also was slate rimmed with brick. So I'd like to return that in some form or fashion. It won't be exactly as the original plans were. The pool would stay, and what's surrounding the pool, that material is actually, it looks like quarry tile. That's a very nice feature of it. It's durable. It's held up very, very well, and that's some of the experimental material that the son developed and later patented, and it's a good product. So that's what frames the pool. What I envision doing is creating a pergola that would extend from the back of the building, the interior, what's the interior now, with support beams covering over a portion of the pool, and then create a somewhere around a 200 square foot elevated terrace that would be at floor level as you exit the back. And then it would step down, a portion of it cantilevered. And then it would step down to a brick courtyard. So that's the grand plan. I'm not presenting that to you this evening, not those extended plans, but I wanted you to grasp the bigger vision, the bigger view. Tonight is simply just to get the approval to tear down this ugly thing. Hi, Nancy. It's been a while since we've been in a meeting together. Beyond that, the part two of this is the carport. Again, owner number 2, that was Gail Roaming. Her son, again, was experimenting with materials. He built a very substantial, very sturdy outbuilding, which must be in another set of pictures. There we go. Okay, so this is the building overall. The middle section is quite, it's in good shape. It's durable. It's going to be repainted. It's got a new roof on it, and it warehouses my. I'm a book publisher, and it has about 60,000 books in it. The carport, built, I believe, at the same time, which would be 1993, was very poorly done, constructed. The span between the supports, which are wrought iron, sunk in piers of concrete. The distance, and I should have measured them for the meeting tonight, is so long from one pier to the other that the structure could not. It was too heavy. It wasn't supported properly. So we reinforced it with those beams as it appeared that the supports were coming down over time. So the thing is just degraded. We re-roofed it twice. It was a flat roof, no pitch, and it's just it doesn't serve any particular function other than there's no car, there's no vehicle that goes under that. So proposal is just to tear that down and remove it. There's concrete underneath that a large tree has lifted up. So you can see, I mean, the concrete needs to be removed as well.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're talking about removing just the shed roof to the right of the existing building.
Yes,
Central building.
Not the building. The building is substantial and is actually integral to my business. So yes, it would just be that I have no plans to rebuild it. And so it would just be a straight removal.
Any questions?
It looks like an asset to have it removed.
Thank you. I appreciate that view.
Yeah, I would concur, Nancy Jane. It's, I think it would be a benefit for us all.
Are we talking about one, the other, or both?
Well, I'll jump in, and I support the removal of the shed on the garage. And I also support the removal of the later addition to restore the building to its earlier shape and massing. And I'd be okay with both of those demolition requests.
Likewise.
I agree.
As do I.
Being this demolition, is there anyone outside the board that wanted to say anything? That is, by the way, a requirement of our ordinance to, on any demolition, that we have to allow anyone who wants to speak up for or against it to have their say. But it sounds like there is no one. So if we have a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept demolishing both of the pieces.
I'll second.
Right. All right. If we'll.
This is a very happy me saying, Nancy Jean, it sounded like you said beasties. And I'm really excited to be removing the beasties.
Okay. Rachel?
I agree. Yes, it should.
Nancy Jean?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And mine is yes also. And Susan, we look forward to seeing your construction after you get all the demolition done.
Wonderful, thank you. And the what I'll be presenting to you would be the pergola plans, the terrace plans, and the courtyard plans.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you all for your service very much.
Thank you.
Our next one is 701 South Magnolia Street. Request
Hey.
of put a privacy fence.
And I have to apologize, y'all. I kept the same guideline citation on this one. There is no demolition going on this property. It is just a fence.
Okay. Samantha, is that yours?
Yes, sir.
Please tell us about it.
Well, we have a fence already there. It's a chain link fence. So we have a pool and we would like a privacy fence because of the pool. And it's the fence that we want. I think it's like all together, it'll be like 7 feet tall. It will match. We wanted a darker color right there, the hill country color. And I did previously when I had come and we talked about it when we had just a covering over our fence, I wanted to have brick at the bottom, but my husband said no. So, he said, that's like $10,000. No. And I was like, well, wait. And he said, no, our daughter just turned 13 and we've had a few older boys that come by a few times more than I feel like they should because she's out here in her bathing suit in her pool in her yard. And we're ready for our fence. So we're just going to do a regular, just privacy fence. But the picture of the dark one is the one that I like. The other ones are just pictures of around the neighborhood that we had taken, but not this one. It's one that has like, keep going. I'm sorry, I took a lot of pictures. I didn't realize I had so many. That one right there. So we're not sure if we want to just leave the top without the little spindles or to put the spindles in. So I told my husband, I was like, well, I'll leave it up to the board and see which one they like better. So, cause I don't really care. I like them both. And he said he doesn't care either, but that color is what we want. And we want it kind of boxed in like that because I think it looks a little classier and it's a little less just regular privacy fence. And so this is the drawing that I did. Now it is a little short. Each of the, they won't be so close together. The panels are a little bit longer than what it's showing in the drawing that I did. So one of them shows with the spindles and one shows without. So, and the little things that are above it are the solar lights that I found that we're going to attach to the top of them. Those are the solar lights.
How tall is the fence going to be?
7 feet with the top, like with the extra top, if I put the spindles in there or not.
That's a big fence.
So that last tower, that top horizontal board, that's the one that hits at 7 feet?
Right. Yes, ma'am. Right where the solar light will be above that, but right there at the top of the post itself.
So it might be 6 feet where if it was a solid panel would then.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It'll be 6 feet where the solid panel is.
I certainly think the pickets add some real class to a privacy fence like that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of privacy fences out on side yards like this, but yours is so far away from the street. I have less reservations about it.
And we did take that into consideration because at first I wanted to move it closer to the street, but my husband was like, no, because if something happens and they need to do something with the right of way, they're going to tear it down. And I was like, okay. So we're just going to replace what we have with something so that our daughter can swim and we can be out here and it'll block a little bit of the noise. So right now I'll show you, it's really quiet. I don't know if you could see, but it's really quiet. This is not normal. So normally people drive by and it's pretty entertaining sometimes, but it does get a little old and it gets a little loud. And like I said, my daughter's not young anymore and she's developing, and it's not, I continue to see more young men drive by and they'll wave, and a few I've taught at school. So it's nice to wave to them, but not for them to check out my daughter. It's just not okay. So But do y'all have any questions you want to ask me about it? I mean, I don't, we will, the issue that we did also want to tell you was we do want to extend it a little bit from where it is, because where it attaches to the side of our sunroom, but not to the one closest like into the house. So we want to attach it to the sunroom still, but on the other side of the sunroom, so it blocks our door that's there. We've had a few packages left there. We never use that door. Very rarely do we use that door. So we've had a couple packages. Yes. So it'll still be attached to just to right there where the sunroom is. So it's right. I think it's another like 10 feet, maybe not even that. I don't even think it's that far. Maybe 8 feet, something like that. We measured it. Should be on the thing, but that's pretty much the only thing that we had.
I think your insurance company would be happy to see a higher fence too. And I think that the little spindles are a deterrent to anybody climbing over.
I didn't think about that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they make it a lot more elegant.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to see a chain link go away, to tell you the truth.
Yes. Well, and I've been dying to get rid of it for a very long time. But like I said, we were back and forth about because I wanted the knee wall like brick at the bottom and it just looked real cute. My husband was just like, no. He's like, no. So I will take it into consideration. This is his too. So
I think if you add the detail at the top, which will really be the thing that people notice, it's worth saying we'll give up the brick at the bottom for that really additional detail at the top.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me again about the color, because the sad part is in showing us the photo of what the fence might look like with that detail, that kind of lovely mahogany color is something I like a lot. And
that color.
Yes. I love that.
That is actually the color that we really like. The hill country was what we found that was close, but we haven't, because of COVID, we haven't really gone a whole lot of places. I mean, we do go some here and there when we need to, but we actually haven't gone and started really looking into getting a color. But that is the color I told my husband I really love. I love everything about that fence.
It's really gorgeous. But talked like we saw a little bit of your home, and it looked like maybe there were grays in your home. There
is. When whoever did, like we have on the back, the patio and the driveway is red, which I'm not a big fan of. But our roof is brown. So, and then in the brick itself, it's gray. It's there's browns in it, a little bit of light brown, a little bit of dark brown, a little bit of cream. It's all mixed together. So we really like the darker color. Right. So that's why we kind of wanted to stick with that. And our house is tan. So it's a tan color, which is nice, like a creamy tan color, but I didn't want to do a fence that color. It just gets dirty faster. It's not going to look as elegant or as cute.
Were you intending to put one of those solar lamps on each post?
We are, maybe.
I think that might be a little much.
That's what I was going to say. I want to at least do it at one end of the yard and one at the other end, maybe in the middle. My husband was like, we'll just play it by ear and see how it works. And I said, okay. Because at first when I drew it with one on each one. And he's like, oh, that looks like it's a lot. And I was like, well, I'm just trying to get it like a picture in my mind.
How far apart are your posts?
They are 10 feet. Okay. So, which is exactly what I wanted them 8, but my husband said that's not really how fences you can get it like that. He's like, but that's just a lot. And so we measured it off what's already there, the chain link fence, and they're 10 feet apart. And because I said, well, I like what the chain link fence looks like. And he's like, well, that's 10 feet. And I said, okay, fine. So we're going to do it at 10 feet apart.
I would think closer than every other one, and maybe not even that.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking more in terms of maybe on the corners and then on either side of the car gate.
Right.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
You can always put other lamps inside that fence that aren't at the top.
And that's what I was going to suggest. This is Tim. I love the fence and I love the detailing on the fence, but I'll have to say I'm not a big fan of the lights on the fence post.
Okay.
And there are lots of really cool fixtures that go on the inside of the fence that would give you some illumination.
Mhm.
If you have to have, I would kind of agree with Phil that just at the entrance gates and, you know, just random.
Okay.
But it's a
I'm okay with
beautiful
that.
fence, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate your attention to the detail on the fence.
Thank you.
You looking for a motion?
Yeah, I'm looking for one.
I move that we accept the fence as proposed in that darker mahogany color with the picket detail at the top.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right.
What about the lamp post? Do we need to address that and give her so she knows what she can?
Let's
I
leave
would-
that one alone.
I would add that I think the appropriate place would be on the corners and at the entrance,
Mhm.
posts on either side of the driveway.
Well, and my
Mhm.
husband, he did add into our backyard, he put some lights up for my daughter's birthday just around our pool area. And we actually really like that. So I think with all of the lights, it would probably be a little excessive anyway. So on each corner, I think will probably be what we're gonna do. So,
And the
Just
entry
a-
gate,
ma'am,
and the entry gate.
yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'll. If you don't get to all of them at once, then you still can do it later.
Yes.
All right. Does our motion pretty well cover it?
Mhm.
Okay. Rachel?
I approve.
Did we get a
Nancy?
second?
Yeah, somebody seconded it.
Okay,
I seconded it.
all right.
I wouldn't go. All right, Nancy Jean,
Yes, I approve.
Tim,
Yes, I approve.
David,
Yes,
and I'm approving also.
Great.
So we wish you well, Samantha.
Thank you. Well, when y'all drive by, you'll see us working on it here and there.
All right.
Well,
Shall
I
do.
drive by
Thank you.
every day, so I'll check up on you.
Thank you. Well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
All right,
You're welcome.
bye-bye.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
All right. Our next one is 524 West Carolina Avenue. It's a request to replace triple hung windows.
I do not see anyone involved in this project on the Zoom call, so it was definitely
Well-
sent to the contractor and the homeowner, so they're aware, but they're not on the call.
Well, do we just ignore them then, or should we
I
go
think
ahead
so.
and?
can
Yeah,
we
and-
at least discuss it?
I would think so.
I'm not aware of anything that would preclude you from discussing it, but
Okay.
just
But
I-
if they're not on the,
it's not here,
if they're not here, what's the point?
right?
Yeah, I think we just wait till they show up.
They care enough to show up.
Yeah.
We can do that if you want.
All right, then that's our last
All
item.
right. And so that is. And miscellaneous, is there anything, Becca, that you need to bring up to us?
Other than welcoming Nancy Jean aboard, I don't believe there is. I did get a couple calls that didn't want to make any official statement regarding the Flowertown players, just more so concerns about the right of way. And just so y'all know, before I would release any sort of permitting for them, they would have to confirm that everything's going to be on their property. Otherwise, they would have to get encroachment permits and possibly an outdoor cafe permit through the town. So I just wanted y'all to be aware of that.
Yeah. That sometimes is the case, that it have to comply with whatever the law is. So, I thank you all. But
Move that we adjourn.
Thanks, David.
have I a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Nancy Jean, welcome aboard.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome,
you
welcome
kindly.
aboard, Nancy Jean.
Yeah, our
Appreciate
next
your help.
one, our next one in July, maybe I can position my computer so you can see the mountains behind me.
Oh,
Well, I'm going to be in Hawaii, so I don't know that I'll
Yeah.
attend next
Oh,
time.
my.
Actually, I'm going to be away too, Becca.
Okay. Just as I'll go ahead and note that Tim and Rachel won't be present and
gosh.
go from there.
Yeah. Tim, you could take your laptop with you and you could show them the ocean there in Hawaii.
You're-
I show them the
Tim's
mountains.
like,
of
no.
West
Sure,
No.
you're right. I sure could, but I'm not going to.
Good for you, Tim.
Well, I hope that y'all,
Uh,
with Memorial Day having come just behind us, I hope that y'all had a good Memorial weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
all right. Thanks, guys.
All right. I'll
Thank
take
you.
care.
Oh.
Bye, everybody.
Aye.